Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Arsenal and Bilbao have held talks for Nico Williams. We'll also be talking about the latest on a Wolves winger. If you don't get Nico Williams, could we end up getting Pedro Neto? They've set their price for the winger, so we will be discussing that. But first, Cozy, how are you?
I'm perfect. I'm doing well. Just that big bomb of today from Fabrizio and Don Stein confirming that Arsenal are not getting one of my favorite players from Crystal Palace. Just dealt my day a little bit of a blow, but I'm still enjoying my days. The Euro is still going on. Good football, good entertainment, very well.
Absolutely. So if you don't get that player, obviously you're not getting him. He's going to Germany. We'll discuss that one later, but we could get other ones. And this is the first one. According to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal and Liverpool have held talks with people close to Nico Williams. Now, let's start with Nico Williams. Now, you say there's a couple of wingers who are available. We've talked about a couple of them. There's not too many. Like if you sit down and think about the realistic ones to sign, it's not too many. And also the striker position, not too many at all. But Nico Williams is one that we've discussed, and he's an absolutely incredible player. And he would be a great signing. But first, before I ask you, let's get to this as well. Barcelona, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool have all looked at Nico Williams with his 45 million release clause viewed as good value by potential suitors. However, his high wages makes any deal difficult. He may still need to lower his demands if a move is to happen. This is according to Ben Jacobs. So first, let's start with the wages and stuff. Now, if he signed for that amount of money, obviously the release clause, that's a bargain, as we've already said. Do you think, would you be worried with the wages? Because we're hearing that Olise didn't go to this team and that team because of wages. There's talks about Nico Williams potentially wanting 250, even 300. Do you think it's worth it, or do you think it's going to disrupt the team too much?
Well, surely the deal is about personal terms. We've talked about this before, and if you're out there watching, I'd love to remind you that when it is a release clause, personal terms are as key as possible. So I think a couple of clubs are going to be knocking on his door. They're going to be calling his agent. They're going to be calling him as a player, promising him this and that. And we have seen personal terms knock out Arsenal on a couple of occasions. Rafinha, Mikhailo Modric. I think that one's the biggest one we can remember. He was offered a huge salary, and he decided to choose Chelsea. Moises Caicedo again on that deal to Chelsea, beating Liverpool. So yes, I think he's a young player, and if you gave him 150,000 a week, that would be sufficient enough for him as a player. But it's the attention he's picking up from these big giants. Chelsea have missed out on Olise. Arsenal didn't get a winger as well. Barcelona have not signed anyone in terms of replacing Dembele. All those players, big players on the market are looking at Nico Williams, and they're like, this 45 million pound deal, this is the one we want. This is the one we've got to get. It's not difficult in terms of cracking the code, in terms of cracking that release clause. It's difficult in terms of personal time. So I think as a player and the agent, they'll be positioning in themselves in a way. If we cannot go to Barca, which the player really likes, then it's going to be about money. It's going to be about the high speeder. It's going to be about who can give us the most amount of money in terms of wages. Now, would I give him 200, 300K? It would disrupt the Arsenal hierarchy and system a little bit. Now, I would love to believe, and I know this is true, Mikel Arteta's system really works on rewards. You look at Saliba, rewarded with a very good contract. You look at Gabriel Magalhaes, rewarded with a big contract. Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and a couple of other players as well. And even the signings we have made, the reason as to why Arsenal don't have someone on 500,000 wages is because no one at Arsenal I would give 500,000. No one at Arsenal I would give 300K personally, if I was handing out contracts. And we have seen it with Edu and Mikel. They will give you a contract because you deserve it and they think you deserve it. You're either going to fulfill that potential or you're already fulfilling that potential. For me, Declan Rice, in around, on his first renewal at Arsenal, he's definitely going to go to 300K. If he renews for Arsenal again, he's definitely going to go to 400K, per week. So a young player like Nico Williams, just turned 21, for him to come in at the same age as Saka, at the same age as Martinelli, younger than Odegaard, younger than Saliba, and all these players, what they have in common, by the way, is they have built the Arsenal as we know it right now. They're the reason as to why Arsenal are the club we talk about, the way we talk about it. Like, 2-3 years ago, we were talking about Luis as our defender. We're talking about Papastapoulos. We're talking about whoever was playing at left back and right back, the likes of Bellerin, someone who couldn't take a proper throw in. Right now, these boys have come in on one thing, and that thing was believing in Mikel Arteta, believing that things would change. They didn't have any reason to believe in Arsenal because, listen, Kroenke was still there. And this was the same management that had ruined the previous managers. So why would we come to Arsenal? They believed they gave this Arsenal project a chance, and yes, it has worked out. It is their toil, it is their sweat. So I don't expect one youngster who has scored 1 goal and maybe 3 assists at the Euros, and has had 11 assists or 17 assists in the previous season. That record was better than Saka, was bettered by Saka in a more difficult league, if we believe that the Premier League is a difficult league as compared to La Liga. So for me, it would be a little bit unfair. I think we need to run on the other principle that Mikel says. You're 100% sold onto the Arsenal project. You're not signing for because of the money. There's a time when Ed was doing an interview and he said, there was a player we wanted from Borussia Dortmund. The player was never revealed, but I think it could have been Julian Brandt. And when he was asked about why he wants to play for Arsenal, why he would love to join Arsenal, despite the fact that the player had agreed to join us and we had convinced him, he said, wherever the money goes, as long as you can pay my wages, I'm ready to play for you. I'm ready to join. And Edu said, there and then we backed out of the deal because he wasn't committed to Arsenal. He wasn't committed to the project. Now, if that was true, I don't think that Arsenal are going to give Nico Williams 200k to entice him. I think we might see Arsenal attract him for other reasons. And of course, we have got a lot of reasons to attract him.
That makes complete sense. Now, he's obviously a very good player. We went through that. He would make an impact at Arsenal. He could play for us on the left side. He could play on us on the right side. He'll add more depth to the team. He might even start some games because he said he might even end up starting some games ahead of Martinelli, Trossard, maybe even Saka. Like, it brings something. He's an international player, and his performances so far for Spain have been really good. He's picked up man of the match award already. This time he hit a post with the shot. He's looking good, very tricky. I think if you had to say the 10 best players so far, they use maybe even the top 5, probably it'd be there. Alongside a couple of others, the ones who have really, really impressed. Now, the thing is, I personally don't think winger is our priority. I feel like that is the third out of the priorities I want. But I still want someone to come and help in the winger position. But would you be willing to, say, okay, fine, if you're getting Nico Williams and not getting a striker, I'm happy with that. Do you feel like that is enough? Like, Nico Williams will bring enough goals and enough assists to the team to, help you compensate for not having a new striker if no one is available? Or do you think like, nah, if you're getting Nico Williams and not getting a striker, you rather get for me that 40 million striker, 35 million striker?
Definitely not. I don't think he's a player that comes in and there is sudden balance in terms of scoring goals. I think there will be a deficit on the books in terms of scoring goals for Arsenal. Last season, we didn't outscore Man City. We scored 5 goals less than them, or around 6 goals less than them. The season before that, City had scored around 95 and we scored around 88. So again, there was a deficit there. I don't think Nico Williams is the player that comes in to close that deficit. But what I'm going to say with Nico is he's a player that comes in and there is a leveling in terms of quality. Who comes on vis-a-vis who is going off, who's replacing the other. There is a kind of a leveling in quality. The way we have seen Trossard and Martinelli, and now you have Gabriel Jesus also available on the flanks. So there will be a lot of quality on the flanks. However, a striker is a striker. A number 9 is a number 9. And if people who have been following the Euros, I look at Romelu Lukaku. He has had a hat-trick of goals ruled out, but his movement for Belgium, the goals they have scored only 2 goals at the Euros that have been allowed. And he's been so vital, very vital. I know why people hate him, but I feel like he gets into so many good positions. I'm like, very good. I feel like it's unlucky, just being unlucky. Yeah, very unlucky. So when I look at Romelu Lukaku, a player who's not scored any goals, and Tedesco really looks into his accounts and is like, yes, we don't score this goal if Lukaku doesn't make that run. We don't score the Yuri Tillemans goal if Lukaku doesn't use his body as a shield, and if he doesn't get that flick on, we don't score the second one through Kevin De Bruyne. I think still a number 9 and a centre forward is needed for Arsenal. If you watch games, if anyone watches games on this video, and you're watching right now, you know what we are talking about. A striker does more than just crossing that ball, the line. He does more than that. Runs, hold up play, the way he pins in defenders, the way he puts defenders on pressure, and things like that. So I don't think Nico Williams would do that. What he would do is he would help us increase unpredictability, increase uncertainty, and increase the number of versatile players we have in the team, but also maybe raise the level of consistent performers on either flanks at Arsenal. Because again, Trossard is getting older. You don't expect him to give you the quality he gave to Brighton maybe 3 years ago. You don't expect him to do that. So with Nico Williams, that is what he would bring to, that's what he would bring at Arsenal. So for me, I wouldn't sacrifice a striker for Nico Williams. But when I look at Arsenal and how much we have invested in a player like Nico Williams, because Fabrizio says that talks have been held a long time ago, that shows you that they've either looked at him as a massive opportunity on the market, or they've looked at him as a player that they really, really love, and the player that is fitting of what Mikel is trying to do. I mean, we've been told they want to expand his account of players, the ones that he can trust, his inner circle, from 14 that he was using last season to 17, 18. So we're talking about 3-4 signings. And if you're doing 3-4 signings, you might have a defender there, a midfielder, probably a forward or 2 midfielders there. So I think Nico Williams is a player that Arsenal prepared to sign, regardless of if they get a striker or none, right? And I think the initial plan was to get Williams and Benjamin Šeško. Šeško for around 55, this boy for around 45. How much is that? Is that 100? Is that 90? Somewhere, I think it's 100. I think it's 100. So around there. And because Šeško doesn't happen, Nico Williams quickly moves into the priority region. And I would agree with Arsenal still, Glenn. And I will agree with you as well. When you don't have as enticing prospects on the market for strikers, what do? Do you walk away from the transfer window empty-handed? That was Arsene Wenger days. We can't get Benzema, guys. Let's go for Peter Cech for 10 million, and we have failed. That was the region. That was the time when we could confidently say we are losers, we are bottlers. We used to bottle titles, we used to bottle transfer windows, we used to bottle top 4 races. We didn't used to bottle top 4 races under Arsene Wenger, honestly. But we are perfect.
10 out of 10 strike rate. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Top 4 race. But you get the point. I think Arsenal are going to make him a priority because he adds something we do not have on that forward line. A player who can play both up and down with different feet, quick feet, and still very, very young as well. And then when Arsenal are prepared to go in the market, and now we think there are enough good strikers for us to go to. Maybe Vlahovic has increased his goal return. Maybe Šeško has increased his goal return and is now available for a sell. Maybe Osimhen's price has come down. That would be a year or two. Then Arsenal can go and sign a striker. So with Williams, why I would take him right now and not take a striker? It's not because he closed the deficit Man City have on us, but the reason why I would take him is that he just allows you that extra quality, just gives you that extra quality, in this window, so that you kind of forget that you've not signed a striker, and then you can sign a striker in the coming summers.
100%. Now, I think we desperately need someone to help out Saka. I think Saka plays way too much. Is now going to come back after having played, 5, 6, 7 games for England, and then pre-season some more tougher games against United and Liverpool. And I think in the Emirates Cup you're going to play Lyon and maybe Dortmund or Leverkusen. We're going to have some tougher games even before the season. And by the time the season starts, more tougher games in the first 5 fixtures. So it's not going to be easy, and you need someone to help him out. For the striker, I'll keep on saying this. I still want us to get a striker, top level. If you can, Gyökeres, Osimhen to take us to the next level. But there's a big chance that if those don't happen, I've looked at the striker market and I'm like, okay, maybe you go for the Girona striker, and maybe people say one lucky season. There's not too many. Even after that, if I mention that, you're now talking about Solanke. Watkins is not realistic. Isaac is not realistic. Calvert-Lewin, Jesus Christ, no. Which other one? Unless you go for Duran from Aston Villa, the second level strikers. Man's not going to sell. And Callum Wilson, one of the best strikers I've seen in the league, but he will
never available. Never available.
Always games.